Recognize Mr. Goldman now for 5 minutes.
Or we'll just pick up the questioning here.
That sounds great, prosecutor.
First, I do want to mention how sad it is to see Sheila Jackson Lee's empty seat there. What an incredible inspiration to so many of us, and a member and advocate, community presence, and we really are sorry to miss her. She would be very eager to be asking questions here today because there are a lot of unanswered questions, and I sat through a 4.5-hour hearing yesterday with the director of the Secret Service, and we got no information. So I'm going to jump on, piggyback off of Mr. Garbarino. Where you left off is that you relayed, or PSP relayed the photograph to the number that the Secret Service directed your officer to. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Now, did anything come back? Any instructions or directions come back from the Secret Service?
So again, that is left to the after action. We're trying to come up with a sequence of events that led to Crooks on top of the building where he ultimately took the shots. So
right, but you said, I'm trying to find, I don't need the specific timeline. I'm trying to just figure out the sequence, because you said that many of your officers, or Butler ESU officers, were looking for Crooks. That was after that photograph was relayed to the Secret Service?
My understanding was after the photo was relayed to our trooper in the command post, and yes, Crooks was in that area around the building. My understanding is 2 additional municipal officers who were on a different post responded to that area, and they began actively looking for Crooks. They circumvented, or they circumscribed the building to try and locate him. It became apparent at some point that he was up on the roof. Those 2 municipal officers who responded then, to their credit, actively, once they realized that he was on the roof, one boosted the other one up, hanging from the ledge of the roof. By the time that officer was boosted up on top of the roof, Crooks was on it, almost in that final position that you saw. He had the AR out, and he pointed it at the municipal officer who, suspended from the roof, was not in a position, feet dangling at that point, to draw a weapon or continue hoisting himself back up on the roof. He drops back down from the roof, and at this point, I believe that's when the video that's been widely circulated with people filming Crooks up on the roof, saying there's somebody up on the roof. There were other law enforcement around the building running, but their vantage point on the ground did not lend a clear line of sight to where Crooks was at the top of that building. One of our troopers on roving patrol also was notified. That word went out, and he responded about the time that the municipal officer was boosting the other officer up onto the roof.
What was he notified of?
I don't know specifically. That's going to be part of the after action. But we obviously knew that he was Crooks was suspicious. He had not gone into the venue, and they were actively doing everything they could to try and locate him.
So the local officers who were outside of the perimeter in charge of securing the outside perimeter area, one way or another, understood or got direction that they needed to try to find Crooks, presumably to ask him questions, interview him. Is that what the protocol is?
Clear about, I don't want to speak for I haven't seen the Secret Service operations plan, what their responsibilities were and what their understanding of those were from the Secret Service. I don't want to comment on it.
But somehow they got the message.
Somehow there was
knew.
information that he was suspicious. By the time that municipal officer was hoisted up onto the roof and saw him, he had the weapon out.
Do you know how long it was between the time that the photograph was relayed to the Secret Service and the time when the officer was trying to hoist himself onto the roof?
So that's a critical,
yes,
detailed, salient question. I would answer it from the reverse time period, from if the first shots rang out at 1811 hours. the hoisting up of the officer occurred probably no more, again, I'm going to give you a time, but I want to just put it in
We
the
understand
context
it's not
of
specific.
a sequence of events. I would say at most 2.5 to 3 minutes before that first shot rang out.
And when
What they
he-
were notified in the interim still remains under investigation.
Right, and when he fell off of he let go?
The municipal officer, when the briefing that I had was the municipal officer saw Crooks saw him, and Crooks turned and leveled the gun at him in a position tactically of extreme disadvantage, suspended, in the air with your legs dangling after somebody had boosted you up.
Right, and he let go, right?
He let go and he fell back down.
And was there, at that point, any communications that there's a shooter on the roof from the municipal officers who were
At that
there?
point, that's all part of the after action. We're just trying to get a sequence of events up to the point when Crooks then fired the weapon. So that's been the focus of our investigation thus far.
But there was at least, you said you thought 2.5 to 3 minutes between the time when the municipal officers tried to hoist on top of the roof, Crooks pointed the gun at them, they dropped, and then between that time and when he fired the shots.
I don't want to give you an exact period of time, but it was minutes. It was a very short period of time. Even for his ability.
But not seconds.
I would say minutes. But I would be remiss if I gave you, and I want to be very clear on the record. When you do an investigation like this, the timeline is critical. You're asking me, I was briefed, I'm answering to the best of my ability right now.
And I know my time is up. Colonel Paris, I want to thank you for, providing us with this information. It was incredibly disappointing that the director of the Secret Service did not provide any of this information yesterday. I think
Well
it is
said.
good that we're going to have somebody new at the top, but just having somebody new does not answer the questions. And
Couldn't agree more.
Mr. Chairman, I know you are working diligently to try to get witnesses here. This is not an academic exercise. This is not something that the American people can wait 60 days for. With these gaps in information, there are conspiracy theories, there is disinformation, and all of our safety is at risk, political violence is escalated, and we need to know these answers. I thank you for bringing these witnesses here, and I yield.
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate the tag team between two sides to get to the